The following program was produced by an independent community producer. The opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of the ECAT staff or board of directors.
I'm your host, Karen Miranda. Welcome to Whispers from the Other Side. We are coming to you live from QA-TV from Quincy, Massachusetts, and I have a special guest on, and Sue.
Hi, I'm Sue Rulisanis.
And by the way, the line, if you want a reading, you can feel free to call the station. The lines are open. It's been 6 long years since I've had the phone back, but I'm back, so and feel free to call. We're going to be discussing spiritual things in between the calls, and Sue's going to share some experiences she had. So.
Oh yeah, well, actually, I guess I'll talk about Karen first of all. No, I've known Karen for a couple of years now, so I've been able to see her in both giving readings in a group setting and one-on-one, and as she's given them to me. It was actually kind of funny the other day. We were just sitting talking randomly, and all of a sudden she looked over like around me and went, like she was waving to someone that was behind me, and we agreed we wouldn't talk about that until tonight.
Yeah.
But Karen always manages to get sort of these special details that somebody wouldn't know, or unless they had insider information. One reading, the first time she gave me a reading, I'll never forget, because if you're watching her when she gives a reading, her mannerisms change. You can see that she's actually interacting with somebody. She was talking to me about a friend of mine who had come through to speak to her, who had committed suicide, and she was hesitant to talk to me about it, but one thing I noticed was her hand kept going like this. Her hand kept going like this, and I don't even think she was aware of it.
No.
And finally she said to me, she was very careful to try not to hurt my feelings in any way or to make me feel bad, but she said, she leaned in and she said, "He committed suicide." And I could tell by this, I knew right away. And I said, "Can I ask you how?" And she said, "He hung himself," and then her hand just sort of dropped. And I mean, other things that she said about him made me realize, like I said, I did know right away who she was talking about.
And I want to add something to that. When you see me talking with my hands, some people look at me like when I'm talking, and that's when I know spirits are working with me, because I go like this and like that, and I'm all over the place with my hands.
If you see her in a group where she's giving a reading to a group of people, you can almost see things like where she's telling everybody to sort of stand back one at a time, and she's trying to, it looks like someone who's trying to handle a conversation with a bunch of people that you can't see.
And that's why, after they describe themselves to me, and I've been telling the older ones, you got to come in looking younger, because people don't know you that way. You know what I'm saying, Sue?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there are other little things too, like she repeats phrases. I mean, like, you could have a grandfather who hung out at a bar. My first ex and I owned a bar in the North End, and my grandfather had gone there all the time. But the way she would say, "We always hung out at the bar," I mean, she said it exactly like he would say it. So it was those little things. It's not just where she's telling you something and you're believing it. It's the way she might be speaking. It's there are these little details that always manage to come through.
And that is the biggest validation, because when I was in development class, that's how I was taught to get that special piece that would, nobody would know about. And like I always say at home, and I have to repeat, I know, but it might seem, oh, that's general, but to the person getting the reading, it is the biggest validation.
Yes, it does. It can sound, if the reading is not for you, it can sound very generic, or it can sound, a general, like like you would expect when you read a horoscope, but it's the little details that you may or may not be paying attention to that are, those are the ones that all of a sudden you're like, whoa, you know, so I thought that was pretty
Yeah, and it's the memories they share with me with the clairsentience thing.
Can you say anything to me now? Do you remember when you waved to that? And it was funny too, because you also know when she's talking to different people, because her mannerism, her demeanor changes. So you can tell if she's talking to someone who's quiet, or in that case the other day when she was like, you can tell when she's talking to someone who's playful. It's really kind of funny to watch the change when she interacts with different spirits.
What I'm feeling is, if not the grandmother that came through on the last show, but another one, because she wasn't that tall with her height, but very bubbly, very friendly, and everything. And I said, you'll hear me say this all the time, back off, there's too many people coming, because that can happen too. And she was a funny lady, you know what I'm saying, and a lot of fun to be around. And she's saying, she's giving herself credit because she was the talented one, if that's making sense. She had not a lot, but she did some things with crafts and the different things that you might not know about, so you might have to go home and find out.
Well, that would be tough to find out, because if it is who I'm thinking it could be, they're all past.
Yeah, but this person was very, small in stature, but big boobed, with the big chest on her, and she carried her weight around, if that's making sense to you. And that's who was around her the other day. And she couldn't make me stop smiling and cracking jokes, you know what I'm saying? And even though she was the way she was, when she spoke, people listened because I'm in the house, you know what I'm saying, type of thing. And that would make sense to you.
It really does. I was just wondering, aside from her stature and her big boobs, were you able to see her hair?
Her hair was a light color brown, but that could be someone else too. But as she aged, it got a little darker, and I'm feeling like dark brown. But that part wasn't coming in clear.
Yeah.
It was more the evidence, because I like to, sometimes if they work differently with me that way. So.
How did she speak?
She spoke very funny, actually, very humorous and very colorful too, with the words and things like that. And like I say, you can't do that to me. I can't say that on the air. You know what I'm saying? Because they can get and she was like that with the mouth.
Yes.
She'd like a longshoreman, actually.
Yes.
And she said, oh, the men loved me too. And that would make a lot of sense. If you don't understand, check with somebody at home, And she said, I'm changing a little bit over here, but when you cross over, what you see is what you get. I haven't changed at all, really, too much, and if that's making sense. And she's funny because even though sometimes you guys, if this is making sense, yes, if you understand, or if you don't, sometimes this is coming out like this because I don't know if she had trouble, as she aged, with her talking, or at the very end of her crossing, with trying to get the words out. If that's making sense?
If I say something, that would be too much information, and I don't want to give that.
Yes, if you understand, or if you don't.
Somewhat.
Okay, and she said to me, even though they didn't like hearing what I would say, sometimes they would sit back to get a little, she fluffed feathers.
Yes.
And she was very good at it, by the way, and proud of it. She said she got that from her mom, And I'm keeping the younger one in line over here. Because there's a young male that's over there with her on the other side. And that could be in their generation, though, so that's another thing you'd have to go and ask. But she's like, I'm around, and stuff like that. And she's very funny. They didn't like hearing my advice. But they stopped back to take a step back, and then later on, it did make a lot of sense, because that's what I'm getting from her, with her, information that she's given me and telling me, if that's making sense at all.
Yeah.
Somebody actually stomped off when she was telling them one time that she was saying something that they didn't like to hear, but they kind of stomped off.
Well, that could have been possible.
Okay.
If it's the person I'm thinking of, it could have been possible anytime she opened her mouth.
Oh yeah, and they didn't like hearing her, and because she was strict. But she was but she liked her fun though too. You know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. And she's actually kind of funny because my mouth isn't bothering me anymore. one of your grandmothers had a mouth trouble with that teeth too at the very end, with chewing and swallowing.
Again,
Okay.
if I say something that would give away too much,
Okay.
but I would have to ask my aunt
Oh,
about.
that's okay, because and your grandmother was gifted with stuff, and you know, the other grandmother was gifted, but she didn't say it because back then you didn't talk about anything. But she's keeping your grandfather in line. Then that would make a whole bunch of sense with the short one. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? So, and she said, I used to have to run everything, you know, like the bills, to do this, to do that, because he wouldn't know what to do. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad that's making sense. And like I said, she's sharing her memories with me that you would only know about. They tell their stories.
Can I tell you who I think it is, just
Sure.
for clarification? It wouldn't be my other grandmother.
Okay.
It would be my grandmother, the one that you're talking about, her youngest sister.
Oh, okay, that's
My
okay.
because we had great aunts.
All right.
You know, and our family was very small, so we were all together. But I believe it was my great aunt.
and sometimes I don't know, like, you know, they come out across that way, and thank you, I appreciate you sharing that piece of information with me. With her motor skills, I'm feeling motor skill issues with her because of like my arm is getting really numb-like and stuff like that, so I'm glad that's making sense to you.
Can I? Now I think I can
Okay,
say something.
sure.
She had muscular dystrophy,
Oh, okay.
so she had a lot of trouble moving.
Okay, because I'm like sitting there and I'm talking to you, I'm like, all of a sudden my hands and everything just started feeling,
Her hands were always
stiff
sort
like
of
that,
tense,
right?
yes.
And she couldn't move, and you know, without the shaking sometimes too.
Yes.
And you know, she was just.
If
she used
my
to get,
sister's watching, she knows who
hi, Kelly. But she would do that, you know, and she was embarrassed by it, but. You know, people would say to her, you don't have to feel bad about, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And stuff like that, because she used to get very frustrated
too. Yes.
and stuff like that. Well, at least I don't have to worry about burning food, you know, and stuff like that. If that's making sense with you, because she said, well, that's the one good thing I don't miss about having my disease or whatever with the muscular dystrophy, and I'm glad that's making sense to you. And she's funny though. I'm glad and I know this is a general thing too with them, but she's glad she can eat her favorite foods again.
Well, that would probably have to do with
and I
towards the end.
have to give that anyways. But she's listening to music again, and she loved to dance when she was younger. Because I'm feeling somebody around you that loved to dance and loved to have the music on and go out.
That was actually all of us.
Oh, okay. But no, this is somebody that passed away and stuff like that. So, you know, I'm glad that makes sense. And she's saying, I'm looking over on the other side, and there's nothing here but love. And that would make sense too, you know. And she was a peacemaker though too. She was like, didn't want to really, she was controversial and stuff like that, but there was somebody over there that's with her, I don't know who it is, it's a male, that just wanted to keep the peace, you know. If that doesn't make sense, you have to ask. And that's who the lady was that was around you the other day. And sometimes I'll tell them to back off.
No, that was actually funny because I had been thinking about her recently, and there are certain family members that you're one of a couple of spirit mediums that I've seen or psychics that I've spoken to. I mean, over the past number of years, but some of them have been gone 20 years now. And I always wondered why, because with her being as vocal as she was, why I wasn't hearing from her.
Yeah, no, and I'm glad she's coming through, see? So, and she'd say, who's around me? I said, I don't know, but I'd give her, you know, people that would come around, like a drawing I did for you. And it just went shush, 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 and you can share that with you if you want to.
Which? The drawing of our
the
friend?
last drawing I did for you with the male that
With
came
the-
through.
You gave us a drawing of a female that we have. You gave to my kids. You didn't draw a drawing for me.
No. There was a man that came through on the paper too for you, but that's okay. He committed suicide.
The one who committed suicide.
Yeah.
That
no, there
wasn't
was
a
somebody
picture of
that came
him.
on the paper, but sometimes when I do somebody too, I have to tell you guys, think about it, go home, and stuff like that too. And then I'll say, oh, that makes a lot of sense, because
Yeah.
it's a lot of information too. But find out too, because I'm going to give you him anyways. There was somebody who died when they were 15 years old. in that generation.
In the generation with my grandmother and
Yes.
her. Okay, that we didn't know too much about
Okay,
what
but I
about
had to
things
give
like
that to you anyways, because sometimes they'll follow me home.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Give her a break.
Yeah, and I said, okay, you got to back off again. I'm going to back off, but that's what she's given me, and that's who was around you. I'm just so glad I don't have to clean and keep everything in order, if that's making sense
Well,
to you.
now
Like as far as the bills and what she
No,
was.
that
yeah.
sounds like that's my grandmother.
Okay,
It
yeah.
sounds like that I used to call them my grandmother and my grandfather and her two sisters a box set because
Who-
they were always together.
I'm going to give this to you anyways, but somebody had the nickname Gabby or something like that because they used to talk too much. It might be someone at home, so if you understand a Gabby, she's here in the studio with me, so she's blah, 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 blah with me right now.
Yeah.
You know, and
no,
stuff like
and
that.
nobody,
Nope.
nobody with that name on my end, but everybody did talk a lot, and
Yep.
so if anybody else knows a Gab.
Yeah, and then if anybody, the lines are now open, so feel free to call the station.
Yeah, that's one thing that I noticed with Karen's readings too. I mean, she always seems to have multiple people around, and sometimes, okay, that's what I meant to say. Sorry. When she's giving a reading, there seem to be more than one person around. Sometimes it has to do with people she's going to be seeing or people that are watching. It's really kind of weird because that person, when she gave me my first reading, my friend who had committed suicide, she said he came to her the night before she gave me the reading.
Yes, and that will happen with them, and I'll say, when I don't know who it is or something like that, I'll say, okay, if you don't understand, I need for you to let me know who you're going to. And right now, I don't know who you're for, but wait, and usually, sure enough, like what Sue just said.
Yeah, or she'll show a picture that she's drawn while she gave a reading for somebody else, and somebody who sees the picture will go, I know who that person is.
Yeah, like the last show I did, and that person gave me permission. This person came through when I was here drawing on the air. So I want to thank one of my crew members for letting me share with the drawing. And my hand starts going really fast when I get the drawing, and it's what I call a quick sketch. It might not be perfect, but you know, the features are there and everything like that. So thank you.
Yeah, I've seen some of her drawings. I've seen her drawing where some of them come out really fast, and then some of them she sort of sits there and she takes her time, and it's really, like I said, you can see that there is an influence behind her. I guess that's the way to put it.
Somebody I used to help me do my show, and I want to thank them actually very much for helping me film my show. She noticed what you just said. Your face changes,
Yes.
you know, and stuff like that. So then I know when spirits work with me too.
Well, you know when you could be watching, you know, be out in the street and see two people talking, watching you see that, only we just see you, but it looks like you're interacting with somebody else. You can see either the nodding of the head or a facial expression like a smirk, or even like when she gave that little wave over my shoulder.
Yeah, because when I see spirits, sometimes it's the light, you know what I'm seeing, and I get the messages that way, you know what, and they just come through that way. And a reverend I know, who is a very good reverend, don't you love it when they come in like that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I said yes, because then the information comes this way, and I have no way of knowing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny because Karen's writing a book about people that she's met and people that she's helped or connected or reconnected. And some of the book will have her drawings with side-by-side photos of the person who claimed that person. And we're working on the little stories of each new interaction with different people, which is, it's pretty fun. And she has to deal with me asking her these, well, what does it feel like? Well, do you hear voices? You know, and I'm asking her these really specific questions, and it's hard for her to explain specifically what is happening.
And that is, sorry, I didn't.
No.
But and that is true. Like when the animals come through, the hamsters and stuff like that, then all I could explain is a kind of like Jello, but a fun little, you know what I'm saying? But a fun mush is what I'm trying to say. So it's different every time.
Yeah, and so that's why what helps me, understand what's going on is when I watch her, when she's giving a reading, I'll watch different things that she's doing, because sometimes, like I said, her mannerisms change, her expressions will change, and if she's giving a message, she will actually give it in a way that she does not speak. I'm not talking like a different language. I'm just talking like little vocal inflections or specific word patterns that I know her well enough to know that that's not the way Karen talks normally.
Yeah, and what was really amazing is when they do that with me, like when people commit suicides, it's really, and suicide's not the answer, but if you're going through stuff, there is help out there. And like when I get a suicide that comes in, it's very hard to, no, it's not about me, but I take a step back, because they're letting me know how they died. And people that are here, they'll feel like, what could have I done? They're responsible for their own actions. You know what I'm saying, Sue?
Yes. That much I know.
Yeah, and, and they're saying they're sorry, you know what I mean? It's general stuff, but they want that person to know, who misses them. Because we miss them more than they miss us, and then it's like trying to say, okay, I'm responsible for my own life, with them taking it. But there is help out there that you can get if you're, thinking on.
Yeah, if you're willing. I mean, obviously, we don't want anybody to consider it an option. How's that?
Right, and that's a good way to word it, because I'm like, okay, so how do I word it? But because people feel like, I didn't do enough for them. You know what I'm saying? But you really did.
Right.
You were there for them when they needed you.
And if we think about it, if it offers us a measure of comfort, that I didn't do enough feeling can be said about really almost any situation where you have someone who's troubled in some way, whether it's an addiction, or depression, or anything like that. I mean, we all do our best.
And we really do. And, nobody's perfect in this world. And so you just got to accept who you are, and you know what I'm saying, and move forward and stuff like that. And you have a lot of support, you know what I'm saying, from your friends and everything, too, and your family, too. It just depends on your situation with everything. But
it's nice to know that they're still around afterwards.
Yeah.
And I guess so, too, though, that comes down to what you believe.
Right, and that is true, because I believe, so, I know we've talked about this before, there's unconditional love over on the other side. You know what I'm saying? It's words can't even describe what it looks like. And I know I've shared this before. I don't always talk about it, but it's beautiful. But when it's our time to go, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that, so.
Well, it's funny because I know, I believe in signs, and I get them all the time in the weirdest ways that sometimes only makes sense to me.
Right.
But at the same time, I know there's no question in my mind that this was like a little, nudge.
And that is true. It is like a little nudge, to say, oh, we're here, like dreams and stuff. Those are, I always say to guys at home, those are real, people have start to pay attention when their loved ones come in and stuff like that with them.
It's comforting.
It is comforting to know, and it's also comforting to know that when it's our time to go, that we do, our loved ones or our friends and stuff like that who have gone on before us are there to greet us with open arms and stuff like that. That's what I wanted to share. And I'm going to go a little bit with the drawing,
Go ahead.
too, as I sit here and babble along.
Yeah, so.
But, and the lines are now open, so feel free to call the station. Yeah, so she was funny, so I'm glad you recognized who was coming through.
Yeah.
And she was always asking me, who's around me? I said, but all your people came, to myself, all your people come through.
It's funny. I mean, with having a friendship, it's kind of hard to, I don't want to bother her and say, who's around me? But like I said, that time when she waved over my shoulder, that was the first time in 2 years that she's ever done anything like that. I try to keep it I try to keep it apart, you know, because we want to have a friendship, and I don't want the friendship to be totally around, you know, her giving me information. And plus, I've seen her after she's given reading after reading, and it can be draining. It can be tiring.
With me, like, not that day I'm given the reading, that's why I used to run and everything, but it would be the next day, because it would be jacked up. You know what I'm saying? So, and that is true. It's like, because you're working, and people don't realize at home that it takes a lot of energy for them to come through with the information and everything like that, because, you know, it really is. And that's why, you know, they do what they do with me, you know.
I saw her give a reading to, I think there were 12 of us in the room. And my sister and I were both there. And at the time, Karen did not know my sister was my sister. She just thought she was a person there. And because I saw Karen sort of physically trying to move people back, hold people back, I separated from my sister because my sister was actually standing right next to Karen, and Karen was making these motions like there was too much noise coming from right here, where Kelly and I were sitting. And my family is very much, my sister and I are very much like our family, and very boisterous and loud, and some of us can talk like sailors. So I actually physically separated from my sister to sort of, I guess in my mind I was holding back or keeping some energy back from crowding her. Because that's what I felt like was happening. She gave this impression of being crowded, even though the room was calm and we were all sitting in a circle around her.
But with the crowd a bit, I was dealing with this people there, and that spirits, you know what I'm saying? And so it was
that's what I was saying.
It was overbearing, you know, and stuff like that. So I had to take them one by one after I did a little reading for them, because they can get very personal. And I've said before too, if you don't want to hear from the person that's coming through, I'll ask them not to, you know, not right now, you know, it's too personal, so that's your private business, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because they can get very personal with me too.
No, I don't know if I don't mind personal per se. You
Yeah.
know, negative. That's the one thing I guess that I would be like, I don't want to hear anything bad.
And I don't do that as a medium. I don't, you know, the negative stuff. I do medical diagnosis. That's not my responsibility.
One of the drawings, I'm just sort of talking to them.
It's okay.
Karen had done a drawing of a woman that came through, and a lot of like the things that I had already mentioned in this particular story will also be in her book. Was she mentioned that she had trouble drawing the person's nose, and when she mentioned that to her friend, what was up with her nose, the friend had a little story saying, "Oh my God," you know, but she knew specifically what it meant, that Karen was having trouble with the nose.
Because sometimes you'll see me, I'm having trouble with the drawing. That's just their way of letting me know. And it took me just a couple of weeks ago to realize, hey, they let me know that they had a problem with the nose, or it was something from a childhood memory or something.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a problem. It could be
a memory.
Yeah, it could be a specific memory or a repetitive memory that had something to do with the nose. It was just kind of funny.
And I've learned to, this is when I had to learn to really trust spirit, you know, and stuff like that. So that way, because I'm like sitting there saying, all right, and things like that. So that way, you know, I actually had to go to the Reverend for that and things like that. She goes, just trust with what you're getting. And if anybody's skeptic, just go, you know what I'm saying? So
there are going to be people that don't believe, and
that's okay.
It's really okay, and it's okay if you don't believe in signs or whatever. I mean, it's not, if the fact that I believe in signs isn't going to negatively affect anybody else. I have a funny sign story. I had a boyfriend who passed, and we used to ride the train together into Boston, and I think the railing over the seats, I kept hitting my head on that all the time, all the time. And after he passed, I was in a hotel room for work. I used to travel for work. I was in a hotel room, and I hit my head on the luggage rack that was over the hangers.
Oh, that's an ouch.
That it was an ouch, but at the same time, it was sort of like, because I know what I was thinking, I wasn't feeling very positive. It was sort of like me getting hit upside the head by him, because the way I hit my head and what I hit my head on was very similar to what I kept hitting my head on when we were on the train.
And that's what, it's something, how that happened to you, Sue?
Yes. And it was one of these, because I have always said that I'm the type of person that I won't get it unless you hit me over the head. I have to be hit over the head before I'll get a message. And so then because of that, it's sort of like every message I get is a dope slap.
I left my eraser at home, so I have to make her face thinner. Oh, and they'll find a way, like me, like I told them back off, not now, and stuff like that. So if they would find a way for me, so I have to get the message across to somebody, you know, and I'm like, okay. and it gets dicey sometimes because I don't know who is for.
Yes.
And then, and stuff like that. So I said I have to learn to, okay, so just to back off again, And the best is when we, okay. I have a phone call.
Awesome.
Hello?
I don't hear anything.
Yeah.
Hello?
Hello? Hello? Hi, Carly, you're on the
I'm right here.
Uh-huh.
She said she's right here.
Okay. Hi, welcome to Whispers from the Other Side. And may I have your name?
Clara.
Carol? Hi, have you ever been to a medium before?
No.
Okay. I'm a clairvoyant, clairsentient medium. I see spirits and I feel spirits, and they share their memories with me of what they did and everything like that. And would you like me to get going with your reading? And yes, if you understand. No, if you don't.
Sure.
All right. I do have a woman that's around you that she had breathing issues with her health, and she's an average height of a woman, and I'm feeling that she had light brown hair and light brown eyes and was very bubbly. I don't know if you're understanding this or not. And full of life, and was...
Yes.
Do you understand this?
There's a delay.
Huh?
There's a delay in what she's hearing.
Yes.
Yes, you understand that? Who's coming through? Okay. Because she's telling me to tell you
Yes.
I can breathe again. It's not difficult for me to breathe. And stuff like that. If that's making sense, just before she crossed over like everybody, but she said she had, breathing issues. I hear an echo in the background.
Yes.
It's delayed. That's why she's answering late.
Okay. Yes, okay. And she's saying to tell me for you were there for her. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes, okay. And she's saying to be...
Yes.
And with the nice weather coming, she's saying to me, it's coming in like this because this is how she was just before she passed. Like she wasn't totally coherent. Is that making sense?
Yes.
Okay, with the confusion, that's why it's coming in this way with me. But she's out collecting seashells at the beach, if you can understand that too. And like to be at the ocean and everything like that.
Yes.
And she said, you miss her very, very much. And she was very crafty, by the
Yes.
way. And this is her memory she's sharing with me, with you. And she had trouble with her speech.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, with her speech. And she's saying for me to tell you that, but it's all cleared up. And she used to get very frustrated because she tried to
Yes.
get the words out, but they couldn't come, if that making sense to you.
Yes.
Okay, and
Yes.
would you understand somebody that died in their, like, their teens? Because there's a young male that's around me in the studio tonight that passed away young.
Yes.
He's not alone. He's with
Yes.
he's with your family that's coming through. And I'm feeling a family member with the person that's coming through, the woman that was coming through. And like a close friendship type of
Yes.
thing. Yes. Oh, good. I'm glad. Oh, can you? Oh, and the reason why this is coming in like this, can you please turn down your TV so I can hear you better? Because that way, because the audio shut it off or something, but you'll still be on the phone with me.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm feeling the young man, you people were very surprised when he passed away. It was sudden.
Yes.
And he's not alone over there, just to let you know that. He's doing great. And for some reason it's coming in like this with him, because you
Okay.
got an unexpected phone call about him passing. If that's making sense.
Yes.
Okay, he sees you looking down and he said,
Yeah.
he's giving me a message for you. I'm enjoying the music again. I'm out with, young people over there on the other side, and that he's with your grandmother. He's not alone. Sometimes like the older ones will be with the younger ones.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense? But he's saying to say, my death was
Yes.
not in vain, if that's making sense to you too.
Yes.
And he was quite the looker. And I see a skateboard with him, by the way. He used to like to skateboard. If that's making
Okay.
sense. Does that make sense to you?
Okay.
Yeah, because he's doing that again, by the way, and he's
Yeah.
he's just, you guys miss having him around. And this was courtesy of the woman that came through for you,
Yeah.
that you understood. They're together over there. He is not alone. There was nothing that anybody could do.
Okay.
If that would make sense. Could you turn your TV down? I hear some audio issues going on your end, actually, too. He's saying to his message to you is, thank you for keeping my memories alive through stories.
Okay.
And that would make sense? And that he's helping other kids, because he was beyond the years for a teenager, and that would make a lot of sense to you. And he's telling me to tell you that he still likes helping other people over there, and that would make sense because that's how he was here. And he's telling me to tell you in particular, put music back into your life. Can you understand that?
Yes.
And he was very intelligent when he was here. He was like beyond the years. And he's telling me his story, and he's funny. He's still a clown though too. If you could understand that. Like
He's
in a
still
fun,
what?
he liked joking around and kidding around with everybody in the family and his friends when he was here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Because my personality hasn't
Yeah.
changed, and
Yes.
I'm feeling a motherly vibration that's around you too. That's over in spirit, like a grandmotherly vibration as well.
Yes.
And she's doing fine. And I'm gonna give you. I know it's a common
Yes.
name, but I'm
Yes.
giving you the name of Margaret Mary or something like that. If that's making sense to you.
Yes.
Okay, she's around.
Yes.
Margaret Mary saying hello from heaven to
Yes.
you. And you needed to hear that they're all three of them are doing good. You needed to hear that, she said.
Yes.
Yeah, and she said thank you. She's thanking you for the prayers.
Yes.
And I'm supposed to be wishing somebody happy birthday.
Yes.
That's all here. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Happy birthday from them. And that's who's around you tonight. Yes. And
Okay.
yeah, and I'm wishing you a happy birthday. And I'm seeing something with doves. I don't know if that's making sense or somebody liked doves or like had something with doves before or after their services. Does that make sense? Like lifted them, like let them go, like,
Yes.
huh? Okay, thank you.
Yes.
They saw that looking down from heaven.
Yes.
Just to let you know that. And you have too much to give for yourself. You know what I'm saying? So they're saying they're around you, and you were wondering about the young man especially, and I'm feeling like you had a close friend that's over there too. And I just had to give you that.
Yes.
Yeah, and they saw the doves.
Yes.
There was a bunch of doves actually too. So
Yeah.
I appreciate you sharing that special piece of validation with me. And that's how spirit works with me. They're sharing their memories with.
Yes.
The young man is saying too, the teenager, put music back into your life. And that is still one of his friends,
Yes.
and that would make sense. So put music back into your life, and one of his friends still really misses him. And I'm going to hold this drawing up to you too to see if you recognize her or
Yes.
not. Okay? But she's not done yet. This is what I call a quick sketch. I don't know if you understand who it is in the drawing.
Okay.
Okay, or not, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Do you understand who it is?
I see.
Yeah. I couldn't
Yeah.
hear what you said.
Do you think this is a person that you know is what she's asking?
I just got to finish her hair in a little
Yes.
bit.
She
Yes?
says yes.
I'm just going to make her hair, fill her hair better while I have you on the phone. But you needed to know that, especially about the young man, he's not alone. And if you want the drawing, it'll be here at the station for you to pick up.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And her hair came down long.
Okay.
Yes. And the message is go celebrate life. And continue with you. The young man was doing something with writing.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Does that make sense to you? With the writing, I see him writing too.
What was he doing?
Writing.
Writing. I see writing with the young man that passed away, the young teenager.
Oh. Okay.
Does that make sense? Not a lot, but a little bit. Like he used to write songs and things like that.
Yes.
Thank you. And thank you for the clencher. You'll hear me say during my show, that's that special piece of clencher that we were talking about earlier. I'm just going to finish her up. And she'd like to wear a locket, by the way, if that's making sense.
Yes.
It does make sense?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. This is my gift to you. It'll be here at the station for you to pick it up.
Thank you.
You're welcome, and God bless.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good night. I don't know if you have any questions for me at all, now that, because they've all backed off. Oh, she didn't stay on the phone. I don't know yet.
God bless.
Okay. Do you have any questions for me?
Anything about Mom?
Huh?
Anything about her mother?
Your mother's not in any more pain and stuff like that. She's crossed over, right?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, but have a good night.
Yes.
And that's how they will come across sometimes. When you guys call the station for a reading, you just got to turn down the audio because it will echo, and that's why some of that was like that, because the echoing, I can hear it in the studio.
Yes.
So that'll interfere with, you're on your end trying to hear me, and the person on my end too, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just going to sign my name to the bottom of this. Just finish up her eye. Something with her eyes too. I hate writing my name with a pencil. And I want to thank the phone caller for calling, because you know what I'm saying? So, you know, she just wanted to hear from her family and everything like that. And she needed to hear that it's okay, you know, and stuff like that. And they're looking down from the other side in heaven.
I've seen Karen do a lot of drawings like this, and it's really amazing how they can come through. I used to organize events for her to hold readings, and she would either do the group readings or one at a time. And everybody, I remember one night, like all 6 people left with a drawing, and they all brought back pictures for Karen to show side by side with her drawings. And even if you look at these sketches and think, you know, they're pretty basic, you know when you know somebody, you know when you recognize someone. And when you see them next to the pictures, they're actual photographs, it's really kind of cool.
Yeah, and it could be like some little thing might be off with the drawing. And I never had art lessons. I never went to school. I never went to college for my art or anything like that. I had like 12 art lessons in my whole life. So when it comes out this way, like I said, it's a quick sketch of the person. Just want to finish this.
But they all look different. Her drawings, all you can see these different features that come out in them.
And there's her locket, and she's finished. And her eye, there was something with her eyes. That's why I came in like that too. So.
Yeah, so mention that, I think her name was Kara, who just called, if you do come in for the picture. Karen specifically mentioned something with her eye, and usually things like that are something that other people, that if you know this person, that you know about.
Yeah, and I'd like to show her one more time. Yeah, because, you know, like I said, some kind of little deformity or something, like Sue just said, that could be on the drawing. Not all the time, but I've learned just to leave it because that's their way of letting me know. But the drawing will be here, so you could pick it up and just spray it a little bit, because sometimes with the spray, if you don't spray it, it'll smudge and stuff like that.
With hairspray or something, just to keep the pencil down.
And she was, you know, full of life and loved being outdoors and stuff like that, just to finish your phone reading a little bit. And that's what I was getting when I was finishing her up. Was a very good swimmer, by the way, too. And it's funny because you never know who's going to come through. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? And sometimes the person really wants to hear from a certain person, but other people come in and say,
That was actually my problem when
yeah,
I first met you, and of course Karen tells us not to give her any information because she doesn't
because I
want
had the
to.
graphic up, and
Right.
she's like,
And I remember the first time I spoke to Karen, I was like really hoping that it would be a specific person, and it wasn't. But I was, I was still grateful to hear from the other people
I
that came through
know.
too.
And your grandmother came in too, which was really
Yeah.
nice because you were hoping to
My
hear.
grandmother came in for my sister. That was super nice.
Yeah.
My
that's-
sister's middle name is she was named after my grandmother.
Oh wow. And then I think, and look into this, can ask your sister. Hi, Kelly. But to ask, was she named after somebody too? Because that could be in another generation.
Well, my grandmother?
Yeah, but there was
Yes.
somebody in that another. who was
Kelly,
before
what
you-
was Grandma's mother's name? Grandma's original name was not Josephine. Her father changed it when they came to the United States. Her name was Violanda. I'm not sure, but I think that might have been her mother's name.
Oh, okay. Because it's like a generation thing.
No, it's like a man thing when he comes to
Okay.
America and
That's
leaves
okay,
a
I
wife
didn't know.
behind.
And your dad is starting to come in.
My father?
Yeah, and he's saying, stop being so stubborn. That's his message to someone in the family because he sees what's going on with the situation. That's the person we might have to ask.
Well, no, stop. And again, that could be any member.
Okay. But sometimes, again, it goes back to the general stuff. Her hair wet on her face sometimes, too.
If you're watching Karen do one of these drawings, like that's two, she gave out two details with this drawing that she said she liked to swim. She was a good swimmer. I mean, and then she said her hair likes to fall in front of her face a lot. These are little things that aren't always to be taken for granted. You know, if you're listening, if it doesn't apply to you and you don't know about it, you don't know how much a simple statement like that could actually impact somebody. I mean, for someone to, if I were to sit here and just talk about what I imagined your family would be like, I don't know if I would come up with swimming. You know, so like I said, so these are little details that come out while she's drawing.
And here she is again, so she's all done.
Oh, hi, Dad.
I know, right? And I get a lot of like birthday celebrations because there was the birthdays, and they like to celebrate, people like to celebrate their birthdays. And but it was funny how soon I got talking about that, and we like to remember like their birthdays, you know, more than the deaths, you know.
Oh, yeah. That's one of the things that, like, well, once you get to a certain age and you start to lose family members, or you get old enough and you start to lose friends, obviously, I mean, sometimes it can feel like you're going to one wake after another, where it used to be weddings and now all of a sudden it's wakes and funerals. And it does make you think about your own arrangements.
Yeah, and it really does, like, and you know, it's okay if you're not there.
Yeah.
'Cause-
I tell my kids know that I'm not a person who visits a cemetery to visit my loved ones, because I'll all of a sudden smell apple pancakes and I'll know my grandmother's around. So, or I'll hear my grandfather's laugh. If I want to feel close to someone who's passed, I will revisit a place that we've been to together, or do an activity that we liked to do together, because and this is just me, visiting someone at a cemetery puts the focus on the fact that they're dead and not with us, or that they're not here anymore. So I have gone out of my way to forget family death dates, and I only remember the birthdays because I want to remember them as they were when they were alive.
They're happy.
Yes, I don't, because every time you think about a death, I mean, you remember, especially if it was someone close to you, you remember all the little details that lead up to the death. And my father used to send out emails on the anniversaries of everybody's deaths. And he would, you know, in memoriam with the name and the date, and then I would respond to him that, Dad, I don't celebrate this. And to me, constantly mentioning the date of a death is a celebration. You're giving it credit. So I would rather do the birthdays. My father died on Valentine's Day. And it's only been 3 years, and I think he kind of did that. I kind of feel like he did that as a little nudge to me. You won't forget this one, Susie.
And you know, and it's amazing, like how we celebrate their birthdays more than their death, because those are for more us.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? When they, you know, when you'd like to celebrate when they were happy, and you know, celebrating
And
their
you wouldn't
birthdays
think
and
about
things
that.
like that.
When I think, unfortunately, my father died 3 weeks after his birthday. So right now, for me, it's still tough to celebrate his birthday because his death was so soon after, and his birthday was sort of the beginning of the end. But my kids know that I really don't care. I don't want them to visit me in a cemetery. I would rather them visit the place where I did something stupid and go there and remember and have a laugh at it than focus on the fact that I'm not there with them.
Right. And our loved ones are gone but not forgotten. And just a thought away. And Mother's Day is coming up. So I'd
Happy
like to
Mother's
wish them
Day,
a happy
Karen.
Mother's Day, and happy Mother's Day to everybody at home who's watching tonight. Happy Mother's Day. And don't feel sad, like I said, too, if, you know, there is help out there with the holidays coming up and everything. Sometimes you might get a little sad and depressed. Do something for somebody else. You know what I'm saying? If you know, feel bummed out or something like that, you know, and suicide's not the answer.
Right.
So just, guys, let you know there is help out there, and I wanted to just reassure everybody. And with the holiday coming at the end of the month, I would want to take a memorial.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
At the end of the month, I would like to thank our military men and women on both sides, on this side of the veil and the other side, for your services, and to thank you again. Thank you to on both sides of the veil for, you know, giving yourself, you know, giving up your life so we can live in freedom, and also too to just let you know that. So from the bottom of my heart, and thank you for keeping us safe. And our loved ones are gone, but not just forgotten. And just a thought away. Oh, and with the holiday coming up at the end of the month, I know it's a big cookout, drinking time or something like that. If you have a little one too many to drink, please give your keys to someone else, so you don't hurt yourself or the person that, you know, could get hurt when you're out driving. So just remember to do that. And that would be totally wonderful. And I want to thank you, Sue, for coming on.
Oh, well, thanks for having me. I love talking.
You're welcome. And it's funny because when I was doing a show, and I want to say hi to everybody at ECAT and Easton too. Hi. And my friends at Dunkin' Donuts too. But yeah, and just celebrate wisely. And I want to take the treat, thank my crew tonight for helping out, guys. Thank you.